Morning everyone, it's Monday the 29th of March. Just a brief touch on some of the other trades I've got. As you know, the other pairs that I'm running, I'm using the fur quad swing strategy, the core strategy. The other trades I've got on are a long on pound yen. You can see my weekly open there. I'll do that again, sorry. See the weekly open there on the yellow line. I came to the chart at this area, so 7 o'clock in the morning. So I took my entry levels from the previously completed 4-hour bar. I didn't use the first bar of the week, which would have been this bar, because the high of the next completed 4-hour bar would have triggered that trade. But as the second completed bar there was still an ideal bar, I used the high and the low there for my trade levels. So I set my long and short pending orders there on the blue and the red lines. Traders trigger long. Can see the first target there at 139.15. It's been as high as 139.10 and 7/10, so it's not quite got there. Not far. Hopefully that will push up along with the pound dollar as well, and they'll drag each other up. So that's the pound yen. The other trade I've got on is the pound Swiss, which is a bit of a funny one. Doesn't seem to be moving quite as nicely, but same again. The yellow line is the weekly open. The red and the blue lines are my long and short entries. You can see that the first bar of the week has created quite a nice ideal bar there. I came to the charts on this bar at 7 o'clock in the morning UK time. Now I know, although this has spiked up and technically would have triggered the trade, when I came back to the charts, price was in this area here, so it was below the long trigger level, and obviously it hadn't hit the first target level yet. So I placed my stop order in again. It's subsequently triggered, and as you can see from the live charts, it's just going down a bit, so we're in slight negative area with that trade, but that's fine. We'll see how that one goes. Just a quick point to note there, I've got a solid white line there. That's actually, if I zoom out, that's actually one of the previous week's lows. So that was not last week, the week before. That was the low, which is in that area there. So I've marked that up just to see if that has some sort of support level there. So that's the pound Swiss. The next trade I've got on is the euro dollar. Very similar setup. First bar of the week creates the ideal bar. There's my weekly open. So I've got my long trigger on the blue line. I've got my short trigger on the red line. Trade has triggered the long setup, so I've cancelled the short order. My stop has moved to the low of this bar now. My entry for this was 134.80. That's including all the rounding up and the spreads. The stop for me was 134.15 on that red bar there. So we can see that's triggered long. It's going up towards the first target level, which is there, which for me is 35 points away. That's 10% of the weekly ATR for me. The white line again is a previous resistance or support level. I marked off. We'll just go through that just so I can show you how I've marked it off. It is, again, it's not last week, but the week before, the low of that week, which is just there. So that's a resistance level as it stands there. So we'll see if price does react to that level, or whether it just ignores it completely. So going on to the euro yen, similar story. We can see my weekly open there, which is the yellow line. I came to the chart in this area here, on this bar, the start of this bar I should say, it's 7 o'clock UK morning time. This was the first bar of the week, which created the first ideal bar. As you can see, the tail of the bar would have triggered the trade short. Price had subsequently moved back to create a second ideal bar. Now, because that first trade would have triggered, I used this second bar for my entry levels on the ideal bar. So I had my long and my short levels on the blue and red line as normal. The trade triggered long, so I cancelled the short pending order, and the stop for my long order was on the red line, which was the low of this bar. So for me, my entry for the Euro-Yen was 124.75, and you can see, bring this up, the low is 124.31, so rounded down is 124.25 for me. They're my trade levels. There we go. So you can see the figures there. They're my trade levels. Now you can see the first target line just at the top of the screen there. That's 50 points away, which for me is 10% of the weekly ATR. And again, similar, the white line I've marked up there, just where pretty much where price is right now, is a previous resistance level. So that's, again, it's a fortnight, so not last week, the week before. It's the high of that week. I've also marked off the low of that week and the low of last week, which is there, and the high of last week, which is there. I've done that for each of the pairs, and I've not gone through it on each pair, but for each one I've got set up, I have put the high and the low for the last 2 weeks to see whether they create any form of support or resistance and see how price reacts at those lines. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye now on Euro-Yen and just see how price does react, as soon as it is at that resistance level for a couple of weeks ago. So that's pretty much it for the moment. So there's only pound-dollar really that's hit any target so far. A few of the other trades are moving in the right direction, but nothing as of yet. Until they start hitting targets, there's nothing obviously guaranteed on those trades. So that's it for now, just pound-dollar. So I'll see how the rest of the morning goes, and I'll try and keep an update with how things go for me. So have a good morning everyone, and I'll speak to you later. Okay.